All right, this is Wincom again for the Verbal Diarrhea review series, and today we're going to talk about this beauty. This is the Kershaw 1555 Ti. It's a little miniature hinderer, little miniature zero tolerance, and it is a beauty. Let's see, price tag wise, in Canada it was roughly $45 all said and done, after tax and whatnot. Excuse me. But yeah, I was stood there in the store several times, and I just could not believe, what they were offering for that price tag. It's something special that Kershaw got here. I was really torn over this one or the RJ1, but in the end, I could have, I suppose I could have bought both at the same time. um, just in case the knife store guys didn't love me enough. But I ended up going with this one just because I looked at it and I couldn't put it down. I do wish these were G10, but that is not a big deal. Again, we're talking about price. I mean, look at it, right? I mean, I have been looking quite seriously at a larger 560, 561, and I'm not sure I could stomach the price tag at the moment, trying to save up for several other things, but I wasn't really looking to replace my large knife, my 350, or even larger, my I don't know what I have in that size actually, off the top of my head, but this is to replace my everyday knife, and it is miles ahead of what I had previously. We will also be talking about, so this will actually be a dual feature review, I suppose, my CRKT M16 10KZ, roughly 2007 vintage. Here we go. We're going to cover the Kershaw first. Let's talk about weight here. I know how you all love weight. I'm just going to talk for about 20 minutes here about weight. Again, it could be lighter. That is the price you pay for full steel handles here, and a full frame lock actually on a knife this small. It's that's pretty special. You get what do you get here? You get 8 CR13 MOV. This really nice semi-straight working edge here, which I find quite a bit easier to use, and also a ton easier to sharpen than a 350 edge with that recurve. You've got your Kershaw zero tolerance grind, which is mostly flat. It's got a swedge. Got nice jimping here, and this bit here on the blade itself is quite good. The bit on the handle, sorry, is not super duper useful, but it's there, and it does increase traction a little bit. If more than anything, just tells you sort of where you are if you're not looking at it. Came in the box pretty sharp. I micro beveled it on my ultra fine Sharpmaker stones, and it should wear into a micro serrated pretty quick. This bit here is not quite ground perfectly, and the finish is not applied perfectly here on the tip, but who cares? It was $40. Give me a break. If you're complaining about knives this cheap, take it up with my relatives who made it. Just kidding. I'm not sure if I'm actually related to them. We go. It's pin construction. It's got a stop pin here. I wish that these thumb studs were one of two choices here, like the thumb studs on the Blur. Their thumb studs on the Blur are angled slightly and make deployment just a dream. These ones are not, and they are kind of sticky, so you do really want to use the flipper quite a bit. I wish that they were either those angled thumb studs or were backed up a little bit against the handles, sort of like the 350, like this. It doesn't have to be molded in like this, but if they were backed up just a little bit more, you could have sort of a pseudo stop pin, just for some extra safety. Not super essential because it is pretty strong lockup and whatnot. Excuse me. Some of the grinding out of the factory, like around here on the flipper, it's not perfect. It is a little rough. Maybe like the edges were just full on 90 degrees, which is not a bad thing necessarily. It's clean. It just the coating maybe built up a little bit along here. That's fine. Let's get to this pocket clip here. This is my single favorite part about it. Look, this friggin' deep carry pocket clip is amazing. Whereas any other pocket knife, even a knife as small as this M16, or a knife as large as my 350 with the standard pocket clips, they protrude quite a bit and are slightly noticeable. That's not a big deal. This just, especially considering how small it is and compared to the G10, how smooth these handles are. I was a little bit worried about maybe losing it. On quite a few occasions, the Zytel handles on this are ended up, and the pretty weak pocket clip ended up falling out. This does draw quite smoothly, but it does fall out quite a bit. Whereas this will sit super duper deep, and I don't have any worries at all about it. It's also really, really stiff. It could use a little bit loosening up. I did move it from tip down to tip up, and this lanyard hole is not quite big enough for a 550, but it's a pretty small knife anyway, so whatever. This is actually a sub 3-inch blade. It looks kind of big, but here's the real kicker. Here's my M16 here. It is actually smaller. For size comparison, we'll bring in the 350 again. I don't know if you heard that, but bring in the 350 again. Like the 350, it is it's quite deep for the size, so it does look bigger, but it is. This knife is very tiny. Honestly, it does fill up your hand pretty good, but it is very small, surprisingly small actually. When you get it up against another knife, and you're just like, hey, wait a minute. It's got a little over travel disc here, a little hinderer feature, and overall, what can you say? It's for $40. My goodness, it's assisted and whatnot. Out of the box, it did require a little bit of finesse greasing. This frame lock here would get stuck on the blade. Did grease the surfaces a little bit with some PTFE grease, which is fine really, because it's better than like having to get another pry tool to unlock to close back up your knife, right? Did have to wear in the detent. You can't see it, but it did rub away some of the coating and on the knife, and eventually made a nice little line here. Put some grease in there, put some grease in the detent, put some grease on the bushing, and up in here, and I've cleaned it all out, and so now there's just pocket lint, but now it is super quick. I did loosen up the pivot for a few days until it wore in, and I tightened it back up, and now it's just quick again, and still could break in a little bit more, but man, I can't believe this was so cheap. Moving on to the CRKT here. This was essentially my first real tactical pocket knife. And at the time, it was one of the only really decent knives. I say decent in a loose term here, in the same price range. It was about It was a time when knives here in Canada were a little bit more expensive, but it was maybe 45, 50-ish all said and done. Our exchange rate was a little bit crappier back then, so I believe 55 maybe. It gets a lot of features right. I mean, it's comfortable, it's got this flipper, it's got the lockup with the thumb studs, this auto locks feature, nice strong tip from the American Tanto edge, and at the same time it gets so many things wrong. I love the auto locks. I know some people don't, but really, if you have trouble closing this knife, you're an idiot. It requires only just modifying your closing grip just a little bit to just flick that switch here and go. And I mean, you know, at the same time, you get so many things wrong. Single position pocket clip didn't really annoy me at first, but as it started smoothing out and weakening, it does piss me off quite a bit now. Got a liner construction with 420 J2 liners, I think. And it's got another Zytel spacer back here. Your thumb studs are completely occluded and are useless unless you do this for two-hand opening. I don't really know why they're even there. I suppose it's in place of a stop pin. The jimping all along this blade is, well, it's worn down completely now. The blade itself is OS 4 at, I think this one is 54 hardness, Rockwell hardness. That's just dumb. I don't know about you. The minimum percentage of chromium to be considered stainless, it is rusting a little bit here. It's on ingot steel, so that chromium distribution is not super guaranteed. It's about 0.4% carbon and precious little else. It's not very good steel. OS 8 is a whole different story. It's essentially CR13 and OS 8 are very similar. I'll just move this out of the way for a second here. But OS 4, it is a special kind of dull. I very recently, a month or two ago, I had this like hair popping, paper cutting sharp, and then I cut some paper on top of not concrete, but some sort of foundation stone or something like that. It was in a basement of a building. With some kids, I just cut up some paper like this, and this edge was so dull, it's still not properly sharp anymore. Not that I should have given up. I probably would have to take this back down to 150 grit in order to put anything resembling an edge back on here. This bit's still pretty sharp. Serrations, of course, don't really ever get dull. The jimping up here is almost completely gone, which is no doubt due to the fact that it's quite shallow and the blade is not very hard. The liners here, I don't think you can see it, but they're very sharp. I've cut up my finger actually, just trying to get the flipper open. If you have longer fingernails than I do, you will just like lose them instantly trying to open this up. Blade centering is pretty bad, mainly because this is the pivot adjustment right here. You can get it from scissors to won't open in about 3 turns. To friggin' turtle slow here, and this is with a Teflon bushing. Just open this up. The liner is so thin you would not believe it. It does lock up pretty decently. There's a little bit of up and down and side to side movement. Like, I mean, it hasn't unlocked itself. That's probably due to this auto locks feature, which is pretty good. I don't know if you can see it. Little bar there. I'm trying to get my fat hands out of the way. Little bar there that when you move this, there you go. It moves in when you let it deploy. It moves into the way of the liner and prevents it from unlocking, which is a really nice feature. I mean, honestly, that's something CRKT got right. I mean, a lot of the design features in this, if they were better executed, I would say they'd have winner here, but this is just not. I don't know how I put up with it for so long. This bar will over travel and get stuck to the point where I can't get it open without another pry tool. Oops, almost cut myself there. Good thing it's dull. Anyway, this flipper, I don't know, it's just I know that now if you were to walk into any knife store and you were to get the same model, it would be a CR13 and it would be a much better knife. All these things I could live with except for this. OS4 at this batch was 54 hardness. It's a real stinker. One of the great things about this Kershaw here means that I never have to use this again. But I brought it out here to complain about it and to fill up my verbal diarrhea review for you guys. So we're going to get back to this Kershaw here, and we're almost done. Don't worry. You don't have to listen to my baritone for much longer. Blade centering is pretty good. I know this is a big deal for some of these new Kershaws with the assist. Especially this one's got a frame lock, really strong frame lock on it, with that detent pushing it down this way. It's got the assist bar, the torsion bar, pushing it this way up here, which leads to pretty bad blade centering. You can tighten it and get it perfect, but it's not crisp. If you want it really good and quick, it's just off center, and it'll be perfect. So in summary, this Kershaw 1555 Ti is just about perfect. I do wish the coating here on the handles was a little bit more texture, a little bit more traction, but considering everything you get for $40, I mean, that's pretty much perfect. It's got all the looks, it's got the lines, it's got the performance with this mostly flat grind, this partial zero tolerance grind they've got here. It's pretty light. I mean, it's heavy for its size, but I mean, let's be real here. It's not heavy at all. I'm not going to complain about 0.2 ounces, mainly because I don't know how to measure ounces, because I'm Canadian. I have no idea what ounces are. I can measure inches, but I can't measure ounces. Yeah, I mean, I am truly thankful that this is my new EDC, because it is pretty good. What can I say? All right. That should be enough of me talking now. See ya.